Go live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled Community Board meeting of Wednesday, April 14th, 2021. We continue to go electronically until we get the all clear to once again meet in face-to-face meetings. The first order of business is the salute to the flag. Donald Passantino, are you there?
I am.
Somebody get off the phone.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
The flag
of the United States of America
and
and
to
to
the
the
republic
for
for which it stands,
nation
one
under
nation,
God,
under God, indivisible,
with liberty
and justice for all.
Thank you. So normally for the new board members, the second item of business is the public forum, where its speakers are allowed to speak to us, but because of the electronic, we've taken written comments. Mr. Giordano, I see two. I thought there might have been a third one. You have those statements under the public
Yes, sir.
forum?
There is a third one that came in.
Okay,
Gary, do you want me to read them?
Well, Laura, let me start because we have a lot of statements of elected officials, so maybe we could split it up.
Okay, tell me when.
Yeah, why don't you start with the elected officials and,
no. Public forum,
no, I mean when she speaks then.
yes, okay.
Okay, so the first statement is from Benjamin Engel,
Okay,
and it's with regard to the vacant lot owned by Stop and Shop on Myrtle Avenue at Cypress Hill Street in Glendale.
okay,
So he writes, greetings, members of Community Board 5 and fellow neighbors. I am writing on behalf of the Cypress Central Community Garden Group. We are a group of neighbors coming together with the hopes of creating a community garden at the corner of Cypress Hill Street and Central Avenue, the empty lot next to the Stop and Shop on Myrtle Avenue. The lot has stood empty since 2002 when homes were raised. This is such a big piece of land with so much potential, sitting vacant in the heart of our neighborhood for almost 2 decades. We are asking for help in trying to persuade the owners to permit a community garden on the site. Our research into the ownership records leads us to believe that the lot is ultimately owned by Stop and Shop. We currently have a petition circulating online that is gathering signatures and voices in support of this idea. Being leaders in our community, we are asking for your help in making this connection for us. If anyone has ideas or interest in making this happen, we look forward to hearing from you. And he signs it, Benjamin Engel.
okay. Next,
Second statement is from Mario Matos Jr., the community liaison for Maspeth High School. He writes, our students successfully returned to a blended learning model on March 22nd. We were able to increase in-person learning by 50%. In addition, students who chose to return to blended learning during the recent opt-in period will soon return to Maspeth High School as well. Our Maspeth Makes a Difference Club participated in recent community cleanups and graffiti removal along Grand Avenue and the LIE Service Road. In addition, members also covered up graffiti and removed trash on 57th Avenue between 74th Street and 80th Streets. The strip spans both community boards 4 and 5. Our students continue to look for opportunities to take part in community cleanups and graffiti removal. Please contact Mr. Pachter, Assistant Principal at J. Pachter, P-A-C-H-T-E-R, at schools.nyc.gov if you have opportunities for students to help beautify our neighborhoods. For school updates, check our website at www.mhs.nyc. If you have questions, email us at d24q585@schools.nyc.gov. Thank you, stay safe and stay healthy. Mario Matos Jr., Community Liaison.
Okay. Did you have another one or?
Yes, from Dorothy Stepnowska, who
You want to
lists
spell that?
herself as the president of the Glendale Chamber of Commerce.
You want to spell that?
STEPNOWSKA. And Dorothy writes, the Glendale Chamber of Commerce will be collecting clothing and toiletries from April 15th to the 16th to help the families who were displaced by the huge fire in Jackson Heights last week. All donations are appreciated and will be delivered to those in need by the Glendale Queens Chamber of Commerce. The 89th Street Tenant Association is working closely with the American Red Cross to help these families through this disaster. If you'd like to contact them directly, their phone number is 347-699-5982, and their email address is 89streettenant@gmail.com. Please contact me, Dorothy, and she leaves her phone number if you cannot drop off whatever you'd like to donate yourself, and I'll be happy to come to your house or storefront business to pick it up and deliver it to the 89th Street Tenant Association for you. Thank you for whatever you're able to contribute. Dorothy Stepnowska.
Okay, thank you. Do we have statements from the elected officials?
Yes. Laura, do you want to start?
Okay. The first statement I'll read is from the Office of the Mayor. And it was submitted by Jessica Schabowski, and she says, per FDA and CDC guidance, the city has paused the administration of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine pending investigation into extremely rare cases of blood clots. This is out of an abundance of caution. New York City has no known cases. Pfizer and Moderna vaccines are still being administered. The city has expanded the number of walk-in vaccine sites for New Yorkers 75 and over. Folks who accompany a New Yorker 75 and over can also get a walk-in vaccine. With the goal of making the vaccine more accessible to priority populations, the mayor announced the launch of mobile vaccinations with mobile vaccine vans and buses. The mobile vaccination effort will be traveling throughout the 5 boroughs as the city's vaccine distribution continues. The mayor and schools chancellor announced that 3K for All will expand to the remaining 16 community school districts in the 2021 to 22 school year. By this year, the city will support approximately 40,000 3K seats across all 32 community school districts. The mayor announced the launch of the City Cleanup Corps, a New Deal-inspired economic recovery program to directly create 10,000 jobs. Folks can apply at nyc.gov/CCC. And then we have a statement from Councilmember Barb Holden. Hello, neighbors, Community Board 5 members, and fellow elected officials. I thank you all for your continued volunteerism and the work you do on behalf of CB5 residents. My office continues to work hard on behalf of Ridgewood, Glendale, Maspeth, Middle Village, Woodhaven, and Woodside. Should anyone need any assistance, you can call at 718-366-3900 or email. Over the past few weeks, my office has been inundated with inquiries on several quality of life issues. We heard complaints of increased drag racing, speeding, reckless driving, and ongoing issues of illegal car meetups and loud music. 2 weeks ago, I met with top brass of the NYPD, including the 104th Precinct Commander Deputy Inspector Hall, to discuss solutions. The assault on our quality of life should not be tolerated, and I expect the police department to take serious action in combating this problem. I was thrilled to hear of the city's recently announced plan for increased sanitation services. The mayor pledged to restore the services cut through the pandemic's early days, including decreasing dedicated litter basket services and the restoration of funding for Sunday trash receptacle pickups. During last year's budget cycle, I made sure to use discretionary money to fill any voids and employed nonprofits like Wildcat and ACE to remove graffiti, shovel snow, and keep our commercial corridors clean. We are lucky to have our own Commissioner Ed Grayson leading the Department of Sanitation, and we will continue to work together, keeping our neighborhoods clean and healthy. Next Thursday, April 22nd at 7 p.m., I am hosting a conversation with your councilman, Public Safety Town Hall, with various commanding officers in the area and an official from the NYPD's Asian Hate Crimes Task Force. This is an excellent opportunity to speak directly with NYPD leadership and bring up any public safety issues you may have. I'll be on Zoom, and I invite all to visit my social media pages to register. Once again, I thank you for your continued volunteerism and service to your community, and hope to see everyone soon. And our next message is from Senator Adabo, State Senator Joe Adabo. Good evening, and thank you to the Community Board for their volunteerism and efforts in the community, such as making this monthly meeting possible. This past week, the state legislature passed the $212 billion state budget. While with every budget, there are good and bad items included, please contact me if you should have any questions regarding the document. Also, please let me know if you would like to discuss that why, after reading the 116-page bill to legalize marijuana, I voted against it. My office team and I have a few upcoming events, including our April recycling event at Forest Park Bandshell on Sunday, April 25th, for paper shredding, where we will also be accepting household goods, books, American flags, and eyeglasses from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. On the following Sunday, May 2nd, we will be hosting an electronics recycling event at Forest Park from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We are also hosting a free public education webinar on offshore wind energy and related job opportunities on April 28th from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Please call my office for the link and details. If any constituent has questions about the COVID vaccine distribution or COVID testing sites, they can contact my office. I have directly reached out to the mayor's office about the lack of vaccine distribution sites in Community Board 5, and I am working on adding more sites throughout my district. My Middle Village office is open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and can be contacted 24/7 by calling 718-497-1630. Thank you and stay safe. Okay, and the next statement is from the office of Assemblyman Hevesy. Good evening, and hope everyone is staying well. Assembly Hevesy is proud to relay that New York was able to pass one of its strongest budgets in recent memory. As chair of the Assembly Committee on Children and Families, Assemblyman Hevesy was able to ensure $2.3 billion in funding would be effectively allocated to expand access to childcare and support providers. Additionally, in response to increasing childhood trauma and adverse childhood experiences during COVID, the Assemblyman introduced a proposal that would, 1, create a statewide educational campaign on childhood trauma, and 2, require mandated reporters to be trained to identify ACE, adverse childhood experiences, and implicit bias, both in person and virtually, and how to mitigate trauma, and 3, create trauma-informed services for children who have been impacted. There were also provisions in the budget to provide additional small business assistance, rental assistance, and services for numerous other issues. We ask that you call our office at 718-263-5595 if you need assistance applying for such services. Our office is continuing to deliver and distribute free PPE. If anyone is interested in acquiring PPE or has any other concern, we again ask you that you reach out to us. Thank you, and hope everyone stays well. And our next statement is from the office of Assembly Member Brian Barnwell. We hope everyone is doing well and staying safe. As you know, the New York State budget was recently passed. Some of the provisions include historic funding for education through what is called Foundation Aid, a $1.4 billion increase in Foundation Aid and a 3-year Foundation Aid phase-in that will finally fulfill a promise made in 2007 to fully fund our public schools. The budget also increased funding to the Tuition Assistance Program, provides $600 million in homeowner assistance and $2.4 billion in COVID rental assistance. This program will help renters, homeowners by making sure owed rent is paid. The budget also includes an additional $1 billion investment in New York State small businesses, protects the enacted middle-class personal income tax cuts, and it also delivers property tax relief. If you have any questions about the recently enacted New York State budget or anything else, please don't hesitate to contact our office at 718-651-3185. If we do not answer, please leave a voicemail and we'll call you back. Stay safe. And our last elected official statement is from Assembly Member Jennifer Raj Kumar. Good evening, Community Board 5. I hope you had a very happy Easter. To my Nepalese American friends, wishing you a very happy New Year. This month, I held a town hall on public safety. It was an enormous success with over 125 attendees. Glendale Kiwanis, Ridgewood Kiwanis 321, Glendale Civic, and GCOP were all co-sponsors and related several quality of life concerns. Commanding Officer Hall of the 104th Precinct was on hand the entire time, as well as the commanding officers of the 102nd and 106th Precincts. I'm a proud member of the State Assembly's Veterans Committee. I have assembled a Veterans Advisory Committee for my Assembly district. Leaders of the American Legion have joined, as well as key veteran advocates. If you have any recommendations of anyone who you think should sit on my Veterans Advisory Committee, please reach out to my office by the end of this week. I am continuing a great community tradition and sponsoring the community recycling event started by Senator Addabbo. Myself and Senator Addabbo are co-hosting the event on Sunday, April 25th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Forest Park Band Shell parking lot. Bring on over your paper to be shredded or your household items to be recycled. The items will be given to our beloved veterans. I will be manning the shredder. My office has continued to be a leader on food insecurity. Every Thursday for the past few months, I have held a food distribution at my office. Each week, hundreds of constituents come for fresh food, and we are honored to serve them. Our next food distribution is at my office this Thursday at 5 p.m. If you'd like to volunteer, please let my office know. Many volunteers bring their children to volunteer. Families are most welcome for this community effort. I am hosting Queen's COVID Remembrance Day on May 1st, along with Senator Addabbo. I have introduced a resolution in the State Assembly calling on the state of New York to pause in its deliberations on May 1st in remembrance of all those we lost to this pandemic in Queens. The event will take place on May 1st at the Band Shell. After many late nights and long hours, we passed the state budget last week. Significantly, New York State's public schools will receive $1.4 billion in aid every year for the next 3 years. This is an unprecedented amount of funding to our schools. I look forward to working with you to build capacity at our schools and to build this new funding to good use for our children. As always, my office is available to help you make vaccination appointments. We have scheduled hundreds already for constituents. I have also advocated for a new mass vaccination site to serve the west part of my district, specifically Glendale, Ridgewood, and parts of Woodhaven. We had a testing site this month in Glendale near the Glendale Diner and successfully tested hundreds of residents. My office is also a testing site on weekends, including this weekend. Stop by for a rapid test. It's free. No insurance is needed. No appointment is needed. My office has remained fully open and fully staffed during this entire pandemic. As a reminder, we have also extended to weekend hours and are open on Saturdays. During this pandemic, leadership and accessibility are needed more than ever. Myself and my staff are here for you, and thank you for this opportunity to serve.
Thank you. Mr. G, you have a statement from the 104th? Or do you have, Laura?
I have it.
I'm also here just in case you haven't
Oh,
seen.
okay, Joe, we'll get
Oh,
to you.
sorry, Joe.
Don't be sorry.
But Gary, do the 104.
Okay. we have a statement or a report from Police Officer Michael Barish, who's the Community Affairs Officer for the 104th Precinct. You know, the precinct has, and I guess most do, a male Community Affairs Officer and a female Community Affairs Officer. And Asar Sanad, who's the female Community Affairs Officer, Laura said to me today, I haven't heard from her in a while. And Officer Barish told me that she had a baby boy about 2 weeks ago, and everyone is healthy. So God bless. Okay, so Officer Barish writes, good evening. Here is some information that you can share at tonight's meeting. For the past 28-day period, rapes were up 3, robberies up 3, felony assaults were down 5, burglaries were down 8, grand larcenies were up by 14, and grand larceny auto down 1. He states that we are up by 3 in the rape category. This is a crime that the New York City Police Department takes extremely seriously. In all 3 of these cases, the victim had a relationship or knew the perpetrator as an acquaintance or from a relationship. We have seen a slight uptick in robberies, more specifically in the Ridgewood and Maspeth parts of the precinct. We continue to urge you to be aware of scams that are taking place throughout the nation. Please check your bank accounts daily and contact your bank if there is any suspicious activity. Do not give any information over the phone to someone who is stating they are from the Social Security Department. As we so often say, please do not leave your vehicle running or the keys or key fobs inside your vehicle. This accounts for majority of our grand larceny auto. These habits create opportunities for criminals to easily access your vehicle and drive off with it. These type of crimes can be prevented by doing your best to secure your vehicles. Thank you to everyone who came out this past Saturday and participated in our graffiti cleanup. It was a huge success. We were able to clean up multiple locations. We hope to see everyone as we enter the spring and summer seasons. Please feel free to call or write with any questions or concerns. Be well, Police Officer Michael Barish.
Okay, now we have Joe Nasarino from the Borough President's Office. Joe?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Gary. Hello, in regards from the Borough President to all, specifically welcoming new members. You are on happen to be on a fantastic board, so you will certainly learn a lot and contribute a lot. And congrats to those who have been renewed. On the 19th, if you have not gotten that email yet, you certainly will soon, will be the swearing in for those who are new and reappointed. Obvious or not obvious, but certainly virtual. But look for that email. And then lastly, tomorrow at 2 o'clock, the Borough President is holding another virtual job recruitment fair. If anybody, you or anyone you know, is looking, certainly stop in and you join in on our website. And I think it's the 12th one, so it obviously is doing very well. And with that, I thank you, CB5. It is my honor always to be your liaison. Thank you, folks.
Thank you, Joe. Okay. With that, we'll go to the Chairperson's report. And that's me. I'm Vincent Arcuri, Chairperson of Community Board 5. We'll do some housekeeping first. Everyone received the minutes. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes from the March 10th meeting? Anyone? Hello?
Motion to accept the meeting.
Who's that?
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
Okay, seconded.
Second, Peggy.
Peggy O'Kane. All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any objections? Okay. What do I have next is review of applications for sale of alcoholic beverages and building demolition notices. Is that you, Miss Laura?
Yes, and we also have to take attendance.
Yeah, we'll do that afterwards, correct?
Okay, so we'll start with the liquor, wine, beer, and cider license applications and renewals. The new liquor licenses that got notifications on this month are for Mansions Worldwide LLC, 46-63 Metropolitan Avenue in Ridgewood, Hail Mary 7778 LLC, 678 Woodward Avenue in Ridgewood. The liquor license renewals are for Little Havana Cigar Company, Inc., doing business as Havana Dreams at 63-10 Woodhaven Boulevard in Rego Park. The Ridgewood Ale House, Inc. at 57-38 Myrtle Avenue in Ridgewood. Brinker Restaurant Corporation, doing business as Chili's Bar and Grill at 80-16 Cooper Avenue in Glendale. Taqueria Kermay, Inc. at 6636 Fresh Pond Road in Ridgewood. Conbro Tavern Corp., doing business as Connolly's Corner at 7115, 17, and 19 Grand Avenue in Maspeth. There were no new wine and beer licenses, and the wine and beer license renewals include Shu Pen Ma, doing business as C&B Luncheonette, 983 Wyckoff Avenue, ground floor in Ridgewood. Andrew and MJ Inc., doing business as Andrew's Pizza at 7922 Elliott Avenue in Middle Village. GW Ridgewood LLC, doing business as Gyro World at 66-57 Fresh Pond Road in Ridgewood. We have some other notifications as well. Papa's Locano LLC, doing business as Holo at 1563 Decatur Street, basement in Ridgewood, will be submitting an alteration notification to the New York State Liquor Authority to add seating in the side yard and add space to the patron area in the basement. They will also be submitting a method of change operation to add patron dancing. The Ridgewood Ale House, located at 5738 Myrtle Avenue in Ridgewood, will be submitting a corporate change application to remove Louis Salamage as president and assign Marcos B. Cordova-Cabrera as president and 100% shareholder. Rahini 5 LLC, doing business as Walsh's Pub at 6867 Fresh Pond Road in Ridgewood, will be submitting a class change to upgrade their current tavern wine license to a full OP liquor, wine, beer, and cider license. 681 Seneca Bar Corp. at 681 Seneca Avenue in Ridgewood has amended their original notification, changing their application licensee name to Seneca Bar Corp. And adding recorded music and security to their method of operation. SSC Group LLC, doing business as Sugar Coal Aroma, 63-4042 Woodhaven Boulevard in Rego Park, will be submitting a method of operation change to operate a hookah lounge in addition to a restaurant and add a DJ. In addition, the owners would like to engage at least 2 licensed security personnel from Thursday through Sunday. So those are all our liquor license
So hold on a
notifications.
second. If anyone has any comments or anything, please submit them to the office via email or in writing. We did have a couple of questions on some of these, and we're looking into them. We did the analysis of hookah lounges, which is supposedly no longer permitted. And there was some questions with the previous owner of Ridgewood Ale House. Okay. Demolition.
There's one demolition notice for 17-11 Hancock Street.
Thank you. Let me shuffle my papers here. Liquor license, building demolition. Okay. So a few things. Why don't you call hold on. We're supposedly returning to the office full-time in May, according to the borough president. but because we are in a rented facility, it involves a lot more than what it would be in a public facility where TCAS takes care of everything. Because there are certain requirements for ventilation, automatic exhaust and fresh air intake, equipment being turned on, the systems being turned on 2 hours before and 2 hours after meetings. The office is open rather. So I will be meeting with the landlord to see what his commitment and requirements are. There's also local law 152 with exposed gas piping that has to be certified, inspected, and renewed every 4 years. So we'll be looking into that, which may delay the return of staff to the office if we can't get everything done with that. So that's that part. That's the office. We had a notice from the Borough President's office about bylaw reform initiative for Queensborough boards. So we had a bylaws committee. So I'm asking Peggy O'Kane to reconstitute that committee and reach out to 9 members, including herself, of the board, to review what is required or recommended by the Borough President's office and our current bylaws. The Borough President's representative will sit on that committee as ex officio. And based on our current bylaws, the chairperson, myself, is also ex officio in the committee. Several of the items that they listed in bylaw reform initiatives, we already comply with. So Peggy, if you could submit, again, according to our current bylaws, your recommended list of 9 committee members, including yourself, to the executive committee for review and approval, and then schedule a meeting. I'd appreciate that.
Will
Right?
do. I have, as I told you before, I haven't had time to read the thing from the borough president because I only got it at 5 today. My computer was screwed up. As soon as
But
I
you'll-
read it over, I'll contact you.
You'll see that we're pretty much up to date with those recommendations anyway. One of the things that bothers me is the lack of attention to the homeless situation in our community. We lost one of our homeless people in the last 2 weeks, I believe. Pavel passed away, basically from living on the streets for 5 years, I guess it's been. We need to force the mayor and his representatives to do something to save the lives of these people that are living on the streets. Besides being an eyesore, no one should be allowed to live on the streets and be exposed to the conditions that are out there. So I think we need to push on that. Let's see, next, Laura, you want to call the attendance?
Okay. Okay. Bhubaneswar Adhikari.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Vincent Arcuri,
Present.
Tony Benanti. Toby Shepherd Block,
Here.
Jessica Boyardi. Here. Alyssa Banilla,
Here.
Eric Buckowitz,
Here.
Rachel Karachi,
Here.
Bob Chimelli,
Here.
Walter Clayton,
Here.
Patty Crowley,
Present.
Maria De La Cruz,
Here.
Brian Dooley,
Here.
Derek Evers,
Here.
Dimitro Fikowski,
Present.
Steve Fiedler,
Here.
Suk Garung,
Present.
Fred Holler,
Yes, here.
Fred Hofferly. Not here. Rich Huber.
Present.
Oh, you are here. Paul Kersner. Paul, I know you're here. Okay, I know he's here. Kinga Kersner,
Present.
Marianne Latanzio,
Present.
Diego Lecleary,
Present.
Edward Latau,
Here.
John Meyer,
Here.
Patricia Maltisos,
Present.
Edgar Mantell,
Present.
Kathy Massey. Kathy? I know. I did see you. Okay, Eileen Maloney? No. Marcin Nadgorski,
Present.
April Narsassian,
Present.
Margaret O'Kane,
Here.
Michael O'Kane,
Here.
Don Passantino,
Present.
Mike Percelli. Not here. Ken Ratberger,
Here.
Ted Renz,
Present.
Kelvin Rodriguez. Not here. Luis Rodriguez,
Present.
Lee Rottenberg,
Present.
Walter Sanchez,
Here.
Dennis Stefan,
Here.
Kathy Sumsky. Present. Katarzna Saita,
Present.
Gainel Thapa,
I'm here.
Barbara Toscano,
Present.
Patrick Trincasi,
Here.
Micheline Van Drayden. Micheline? I know I saw you.
I'm sorry, I'm here.
Okay. I thought I saw you. Mariana Zero.
Present.
Okay.
Laura-
all okay.
Laura, Tony came in right after you called her name.
Oh,
Tony
great. Tony
Benanti?
Benanti is
Yeah.
here.
And
Thank
Fred
you.
Heller has his hand up.
Okay.
Who's that?
Fred.
Oh,
Heller.
sorry. Putting my hand down.
Okay.
Okay.
I got it, Fred.
So what I'd like to do now is introduce the newly appointed board members and ask them to briefly tell us who they are, what they do, and why they decided to join our board. So the first person is a returned, is Toby Shepherd Block. What do you do, where are you from, and why are you here? Toby?
Good evening, everyone. It's lovely to be back with you. I live in Glendale. I am a social entrepreneur who is developing nature-based climate solutions that generate jobs for people that live in the communities most directly impacted by the climate crisis. And I am also an equitable transportation advocate.
Thank you. Jessica Boyardi, tell us about yourself, where you're from, what you do, and why you joined.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Jessica Boyardi. I am born and raised in Glendale. I live in Middle Village now. I work in advertising, in digital advertising to be specific, for a digital website that focuses on culture and music. I have been doing advertising my entire career, so I'm really excited to bring that experience to you guys. I was really excited to join the board. I have 2 kids that are going to be growing up in this neighborhood that I love so much. So I'm really excited to just give you guys some of my experience and just really help and learn a little bit from all of you guys. So thank you.
Thank you. Alyssa Bonilla. Alyssa,
Hi, how are you?
good.
I'm Elisa Bonilla and I live in Ridgewood. I was born in Rego Park. I'm a Queens girl and I'm I've always been active in the community wherever I've lived. I've helped start a dog run. I helped start a community garden. I've been involved in participatory budgeting on the library committee. And so I'm available now because of this pandemic, my life situation changed. So I saw that there was an opportunity to join the community board and I was just very excited. So I applied and here I am.
And what do you do for a living?
I am a college teacher, but was recently laid off. So I have lots of time on my hands.
Very good, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Rachel Karachi.
Hi, I feel like I have very little time on my hands. I have two little ones and I am a special needs teacher assistant going almost 10 years now in preschool. I have had a lot of experience with that and in the fact that there is a difference between state and city budgeting because we're funded by the state. So in going forward, I just really wanted to be a part of every sort of grassroots place that I can get into to kind of support my work, and having a special needs child also. And they're growing up in this neighborhood. I was born in Rego Park and have lived in Glendale now for almost 10 years.
Thank you. Maria Dela Cruz.
Hi. Yes. My name is Maria Dela Cruz. I live in Masbeth. I am an attorney. I have my own practice in family law, and I hope to be able to contribute by bringing my experience and the work that I've done with victims of domestic violence and individuals that I have represented in family court.
Thank you. Derek Evers.
Hi, everyone. My name is Derek Evers. I am a Democratic District Leader in AD 37B, which represents Ridgewood and portions of Long Island City and Masbeth. I am an editor and digital strategist, and I live in Ridgewood. My wife was born and raised here. I've lived for the last 20 years in the outer boroughs. Moved here about 5 years ago. We have a 3-year-old daughter who attends school and pre-K here. And one of the main reasons I joined is just because I was really surprised to see how much, I wouldn't say lack of representation, but because of gerrymandering, how poorly Ridgewood has been represented in a lot of, basically in a lot of things, just because we're a split district. So it just incited me to get involved as much as I can. So I'm proud to be here, and thank you for having me.
Thank you. Diego Leclary.
Hi, Community Board. Hi, my name is Diego. I live on Summerfield Street in Ridgewood. I am an artist and arts educator. I've joined the board because I saw a Facebook post that said we need more board members, and I said okay. So and that's about it.
Thank you. Marcin Nedgorski.
Hi everyone, Marcin Nedgorski. I'm an attorney specializing in family law. I have my own practice as well in Ridgewood. I've been living in Ridgewood for about 15 years. Previously lived in Brooklyn for a little bit, and I was born in Poland. I went to a few CB5 meetings prior to COVID, and decided to get more involved by applying. And I also have a lot of clients who live in Ridgewood, and I live in Ridgewood myself, so I decided to give back by participating.
Thank you. April Narcissian, is that how we say it?
Narcissian.
Narcissian.
Yes. So yes, my name is April Narcissian. I live in Ridgewood, Queens. I am a social studies and science teacher. I also have my real estate license. I joined to help play an active role in building and strengthening Queens. So I'm excited to be here and just ready to make a positive difference. Thank you.
Thank you. Katarzyna Sita, did I say that correctly?
Yes, very close. I go by Kat. I am a nonprofit fundraising professional. I have been living in Middle Village for the last 3 years now. Prior to that, I was in Ridgewood, so very Queens girl as well. and joined because I just felt like there was a lack of representation, particularly on this board of, I guess, younger voices. So hoping to contribute in that way.
Very good. Thank you all. We look forward to drafting you into different committees and helping out with different functions. Welcome aboard. Our staff tonight is participating is Gary Giordano and Laura Mulvihill. So the next item of business is Mr. Giordano, who is the district manager, his report. Gary.
Thank you. Welcome to all the new board members. I think we have a good reputation for being a board that works together and who has done a lot to stabilize and improve our communities. We've paid a lot of attention to improving public transit. We spearheaded the reconstruction. I think it cost more than $60 million of the Myrtle-Wyckoff train station. I guess that's maybe 10 years ago. And the other train stations along the line. A lot of help with former Senator Maltese with Metropolitan Avenue Station, but we really pushed for some improvements to stabilize those elevated train stations at Forest Avenue, Fresh Pond Road, Forest Avenue, and Seneca. And public transit's always been very important to us because we know how vital it's been in the city of New York, and we're hoping that it makes a comeback as the virus gets defeated, hopefully, more and more each day. We have several sewer projects that we spearheaded the funding for. One of them was in Middle Village in the Penelope Avenue 74th Street area. That one is completed. The budgeted for that was originally like $22 million, and some significant funds had to be added to it because contaminated fill was found in there. But we had a lot of flooding problems during some torrential rainstorms in 2007 and 2012, and it takes this long very often for a project to go through design and construction, well, design, procurement, and construction. And then we acquired funding for, or were the mainstays in obtaining funding also for more than $20 million up in Maspeth, Calamus Avenue, 69th Street area. And now there's another project up there that's taken place along currently, a lot of micro tunneling going down as far as 60 feet. And that started in Calamus Avenue, and it's mainly going along 70th Street into Grand Avenue, into Mizzou Street to the LIE, and then going the other way from Calamus to Queens Boulevard and making a connection into Queens Boulevard. So hopefully these will solve a lot of our flooding problems. We've been lucky that it hasn't rained crazy hard all at once. But when it did rain, 3.5 inches an hour or 4.5 inches in 45 minutes, our neighborhoods and a lot of others just got decimated with flooding, especially in 2007 and in 2012. We've been a big proponent of schools having adequate space. We pushed for the construction of new schools in our communities. Numerous schools were built. Now our numbers are a bit down. Mr. Arcuri has stated that at previous board meetings. But the overcrowding is a lot less. And in some schools, there's now undercrowding, so to speak. So we've been big proponents of that. We're big proponents of getting the worst roadways resurfaced first, no matter whether or not Mr. Arcuri or I or anybody else we like lives on a certain block. We're looking to get the worst roadways resurfaced first. A few years ago, we pushed for successfully getting the entire West Maspeth industrial area resurfaced at night. 2 years ago, we pushed successfully for Fresh Pond Road, Forest Avenue, from Metro to Myrtle, getting resurfaced at night. Metropolitan Avenue from Andrews Avenue in Maspeth to Pleasant View Street at night. 69th Street in Maspeth, from Grand Avenue to Calamus at night, and Myrtle from Cooper to Woodhaven, with a few blocks that they didn't want to do because they did not meet the criteria of being rated, I guess, a less than a 7 or a 7 or less. So resurfacing has been real important to us. And with that goes, too many vehicles speeding, and we've made a lot of traffic safety requests successfully, and we've got a lot of them in a hopper. We've been big proponents of reconstructing parks or improving parks. We've been big proponents, and they're among our top budget priorities, for youth services and senior services. I once was the executive director of Greater Ridgewood Youth Council, and we've been big proponents over the years of planting trees. We may have gotten more trees planted with our push locally than almost anybody in the city of New York. And you have a gentleman here, Paul Kersner, who has spearheaded a lot of that tree planting and has so-called deputized others to scout their own neighborhood for where trees could be planted. We used to get a big portion of the tree plantings for Queens County. That's not true anymore. I think generally speaking, there are fewer trees planted. It's become very, very expensive, $1,000 a tree or better.
10,000, isn't it?
No, it's 1,000 a tree or better. And that depends upon whether they have to break concrete or not. We had a graffiti removal program with Greater Ridgewood Youth Council for 15 years, where graffiti was removed at more than 30,000 locations, but we didn't have the money for it any longer. We had graffiti painted over that was on walls that were paintable. We wouldn't paint brick. Greater Ridgewood Restoration has done a very, very good job of that. And they are the main graffiti removal program in our area right now. And they are, I think, hiring a Cruz supervisor to get back started up real soon, because graffiti has become a scourge once again. Places that were clean for years have now been hit, especially in Ridgewood and West Maspeth, and to an extent in Western Glendale. Just for all of us, get our vaccinations and continue to wear masks and social distance, please, and do not go into any large groups unless everybody's been vaccinated and has had that vaccine for the better part of a month in them. And then the other thing I wanted to say is that we have elections for executive committee members every year. We might want to consider that sometime to be every 2 years, but we've been doing it every year. And we have a chairperson, a first vice chair, a second vice chair, a treasurer, a secretary, and 4 members at large. The elections take place in June every year. Last year, we had to do this remotely. And nominations are made at the May board meeting, the May monthly board meeting, and the June monthly board meeting. So nominations will start at our board meeting in May.
Which is what date?
Well, offhand, I'm not sure.
It's the 12th.
I think you're right. I believe you're right.
Okay, so May 12th. Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Giordano? If not, we'll go to committee reports. And the first committee is zoning and land use, Walter Sanchez.
Fury?
Yes.
Can
who's
you,
that?
Vinny, can you give me like 15 15 minutes.
sorry.
Let the other committees go first, because I'm not,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not prepared. I'm not in front of my, just just put me in last if you don't mind. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
so the
I just got to
first,
get my, my
Vinny,
act together here.
Ken
All right,
has-
thanks.
Ken has his hand up as well.
hold on. Yeah, I don't see it.
Just-
Who-
just-
Who's that?
Ken.
Yeah, hi, Ken Rayberger. Just a clarification, Gary, Councilman Bob Holden told us at our homeowners association meeting on Monday that the trees now cost $3,400.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous.
Okay.
I know, I see you shaking your head.
Okay, so that's a good segue into Park Services Committee report.
Okay, so he's gonna get that on
Steven?
screen for you.
Go ahead, Steve, you're on.
Good evening, everybody. How we doing? So this is the presentation that was given to us.
Tell the new
last-
members who you are first, please.
Stephen Fiedler, Parks Chair, Community Board 5. Thank
Thank
you. Okay, this was the presentation of Evergreen Park that was given to us, say, a week and a half ago on a Zoom meeting. It was put out on emails if you wanted to print it out. Evergreen Park is total budget 4.6 for fiscal year 20, 2.1 City Council District 30, Robert Holden, 2.0 City Council District Speaker, 500K mayoral funds. Project size is 1.5 acres. Evergreen-
Located where?
I'm getting there. Evergreen Park is down on, where are we, St. Felix and 60th Place, adjacent to, what's the school, PS 68. We used to call it 68 Park Playground. Let's see what we got here. Keep on going. Oh, it's on the board. Very good. Okay.
Mhm.
We move pages.
Mark, do you move? Yeah, good man.
Okay, provides a variety of uses within the MPPA area, improves accessibilities at the entrance, increases security and entrance and paths, and there will be some new lighting. We'll get to that later. As you see, it's in the borough of Queens, Evergreen Park shown in the neighborhood, and to the right, it shows the site and the size. The land use, 1 and 2 family homes residential, multifamilies, it's mixed use, open spaces and outdoor recreation, commercial, industrial, institutional parking, transportation, utilities, and vacant lots. Surrounding land use. Here is the ledger of the handball courts, playgrounds, spray showers, bathrooms, baseball field, that's the area it's being done, basketball courts, roller hockey, barbecue area, fitness, equipment, and tennis courts. As you see, this is phase 3 of the project. Phase 1 was the little play area and entrance on Felix Avenue. Phase 2 was the swings and a multi-purpose play area on the backside. And this is phase 3, the softball field and the bleachers existing. And here we show the exterior line of the park, okay, with the pedestrian walkway in the back. The railroad is on the left-hand side. There's a concrete bleachers that sit there. And basically, it's just one big open field, as you see in the pictures, okay? Again, the same thing, the exterior, the 2 entrances are marked with X's. So one's on St. Felix, and what would this be? This is
That's where Forest and 75th Avenue.
Forest Avenue, yeah. Forest Avenue underneath the the Long Island Railroad. There's a back entrance there that's going to be redone too. Okay. You see the existing sites. Okay. It's the entrance that is on the back side, which you see the staircase on the right side, which is going to be made. How do I say this? That's a steep staircase. It's going to be elongated. Okay, with a ramp for handicap. Okay. View into 76th Street. This is a path along the back. And if you look on the right side, you'll see the tall fence. That fence is being eliminated. Okay, and this is going to be an open area now. It should work out a lot better with increased lighting. Okay. These are the concrete bleachers that are going to be redone. I really would have liked to see them take it out, but the amount of money and the retaining wall probably behind for the railroad, a big consideration, a lot of money. So they're going to just redo them over. Hopefully we can get it with some kind of graffiti removal that they can't put it on there, but we're working with that. And there's the big asphalt field. Okay. To the right is the big asphalt field. Yeah, okay. This is the outfield entrance, okay, which that fence will not be there existing anymore. And you can see the inside view of the large field. We have, starting on the left side, they're going to resurface the existing concrete bleachers. We have 2 junior basketball courts coming in, which are of a decent size, even though they say junior basketball. There will be a walking track, as you see it all around, and there'll be a few seating areas. The seating areas are going to have tables and chairs that are mounted into the ground so they can't move. On the right-hand side, they're improving the entrance with elongating the stairs and making a ramp for accessibility. Again, there's another seating area with a table and chairs. Then you have the 4,000 square foot plaza style skating spot, all right, with fences around it. We'll show you that when it comes up. And then there's going to be color-coded seal with painted games and 3 volleyball courts in the middle. And on the bottom end, there'll be a adult fitness area, sort of like Juniper Valley has at the top of the park. Okay. Again, here's like a landscape, concrete bleachers, the walking path, the seating areas, another path, trees and shrub, and open spaces. This is the diagram of the stairs that are going to be elongated instead of steep, and the accessibility path with a little slope, but not much at all, to either walk up or a wheelchair entrance. This is the equipment that will be down on the right-hand side. There'll be a safety surface underneath it, and parallel bars and stretching equipment like most parks have now these days. A nice little area. This is the edge for the skateboarders, okay, the plaza style elements, and the low rails that they usually use in a area for this kind of activity. Looks pretty nice. Again, we have the steel picket fences around most of our gardens. We have the World's Fair benches. Those are the table and chairs that are going to be in some 2 seating areas in the park. They'll be mounted into the ground. You have a color coat sealed the track, and there's the 6 spaces, 3 for volleyball court and other games. And they have the 8x8 charcoal and natural to the finish. The high-low drinking fountain, which is good, and the bottle filler. And with the new lighting, we'll have these lampposts. This is the trees that they're going to put in for what, 340 shot? Okay. Very expensive trees these days. Again, all the flower oil in the gardens, the stuff that they're going to put in, bushes, the planting should look very nice. It shows the shrubbing and the tree pits. On the right side, the existing trees with the screening shrubs, existing trees with ground cover, and new trees. Now, the one thing I want you to look at on this thing is the walkway through the middle, okay? Parks felt that if you come in off of Forest Avenue, you can now walk straight through the park and come out the other side on St. Felix instead of using a walking track around like you used to have to do if there was a game on or something and going through the middle of the softball field. So that's just a path. There'll be benches and stuff along there. Seems like a pretty good idea, but we'll see. Okay. I believe if you see the red line up top on the basketball courts, those red lines are fencings. The skate park is with a 6-foot fence all around it. The basketball court has 3 12-foot fences on the end of each one and one in the middle to prevent the balls from going back and forth. There's another 6-foot fence on the left-hand side. That's in phase 2. That was a phase 2 contract over there. Okay. This is the proposed lighting. They are adding lights, existing lights to remain. And I believe, I'm not sure, but we've asked them to go what is it? LED. And they're looking into that and see how much that'll cost. The new ones will be LED, but we were recommended that they change them all to LEDs. And that's basically your park, okay?
That it, Steve?
That's about it.
Any questions or comments? I saw Lee Rottenberg.
Yeah,
Lee?
just one quick question. Looks beautiful. I like that it's handicapped accessible, but some of the benches, I saw the chairs were steel. Is that one of the benches? Because I'd worry about vandalism with wood.
It's
I think it's
synthetic. The new
yeah, it's the-
benches, even though they're the World's Fair benches, they use synthetic product in place of the wood.
Okay, that's good because, you know,
Yes.
kids will be kids.
Yep, yep. Not only kids, but people that want to stay warm.
The committee liked the plans.
Okay, anything else?
Well, the committee liked the plans and
Hold
moving forward.
hold on. Diego has his hand up. Diego?
Oh, hey, Steve, thanks for the presentation. That was really beautiful. I'm just wondering how far along these plans are. You know, I live very close to Evergreen Park, and the most sort of concentrated use for the baseball field right now is an Ecuadorian volleyball extravaganza that happens on a regular basis. And I'm wondering if they've been consulted. It seems like their volleyball court's going to get cut down in half, more or less.
Well, there's going to be 3 volleyball courts there, okay? Right now, we're dealing with parks on what's the best way to do it? Do we want to have the flip-flops for the poles to be taken in and taken out? It seems that in most parks, that cover gets broken and then it's a safety hazard, okay? So they were recommending that they bring their own poles and stuff like that, but the court will be painted there. A lot of people had a problem with that because they are going to then break the asphalt and put it right in the ground. So we're still dealing with parks on that, on which way we're going to go with the with the piece that opens up and you put the pole in the ground, or they're gonna bring their own. And if they damage the asphalt, the parks is just gonna have to fix it. So right now, that's still up in the air. How long would it take? Right now, this is, yeah, like Mr. Gary is gonna speak on that, all right?
So the first thing is that I understand that people want to play volleyball, and softball is not the use that it used to be. In fact, I coach track for St. Stan's in Maspeth, although we had an off year this year. And I'm told that St. Stan's doesn't have any softball teams anymore. I think there might be one softball team permitted there. But the volleyball players, while I respect their wanting to play volleyball, have really basically taken over numerous parks in this community, including Mafera Park, which a lot of us know as Farmers Oval, Rosemary's Playground, which is by IS 93, Woodward Avenue to Fairview Avenue, Grover Cleveland Park. And they've gone as far as to have the audacity to drive spikes into the asphalt and creating tripping hazards and all of that. So I don't think they're entitled to have all of the asphalt softball field at Evergreen Park, nor are they entitled to the, in many ways, raucous behavior they've engaged in at these other parks, where they have basically taken over the park, permit or no permit. They have cooked in the park. They have not only cooked in the park, but fried things in the park with burning oil. And I've had to get the cops, and neighbors have had to get the police over there.
Especially
the volleyball players have been a real problem. In Mafera, Farmers Oval, which is near the precinct, you know, I was over there one day when they were playing last summer. No care about COVID, not one person wearing a mask, right next to each other in the height of the pandemic. It's a big problem. I understand they want to play, but they need to respect the park.
So timeline, he was asking about the timeline.
Timeline, they're in the beginning, they're gonna go into their design process now. If we're agreeable to their plans, they're gonna start their design process. They'll be in design for the better part of the year, which is typical, Diego. And after designed, you know, they'll go through procurement, which will take the better part of 9 months. And then hopefully construction will start pretty soon after that. So we're probably 2 years away from construction starting.
Okay.
Correct.
Thanks.
That's correct. All right. No more questions or comments. We'll go to the next committee. Transportation Services and Public Transit. John and Ted, do you guys have anything?
Hello. Not a lot right now. We had our meeting at the end of March. We had basically the New York City Transit phoned it in. They told us that we actually had our meeting on the first day of the painting schedule. And I don't know if anybody else has seen it, but I haven't really seen any painting going on in the last couple weeks. But supposedly they're going to finish up the queen side of the M structure this year before the painting season ends in the fall. Let's hope they get it there. They're still doing a lot of steel construction down south of Seneca on Palmetto. Other than that, our major capital programs that we're looking at still and waiting to hear back from the city are the Wyckoff Avenue improvements all the way from Flushing to Cooper Avenue. The other one is the Grand Avenue Bridge. I don't know if Gary has any more information. I think we're still waiting to hear from DOT about meeting with Community Board 1 in Brooklyn in a joint meeting, because this is kind of a shared entity and it's going to impact both sides of the waterway. So,
well, basically they're closed down for the next 2 Saturdays or weekends for repair, because it's constantly under repair, and that's what's driving the schedule to replace it.
It's all like temporary fixes as they need it to go along. And I know that they're still in, I think they did update us that they're still in planning stages. They haven't picked any kind of final environmental review stance yet to present. So that's part of it. It's also just trying to coordinate the meeting with a specific part of the agency, being Bridges, and 2 community boards, I'm sure is not an easy task. Other than that, we went through our standard safety requests. Folks, if you have issues in your neighborhoods, please send them into the board, let them know. They'll get them to our committee. Our next
In writing.
Yes, in writing, or yes, preferred by email, I guess is what we're hearing. We have collected the community's interests in what they'd like to see repaved. That was just submitted in the last week and a half by Gary to the DOT. It's been filed with them. Well, hopefully we'll hear back shortly with how that's going to get fit in on the schedule. Our next meeting is the 27th of April, which is a Tuesday. If you would like to join that, if you're one of our new members and you'd like to find out what's happening in transportation and possibly be on that committee, I would recommend you reach out to the board office by email to ask for an invite to that.
Thank you, John.
Yep.
Is Walter ready with his report?
I am. I'm here. I'm ready.
Go ahead.
Okay. So for the new members out there, I want to talk a few minutes about land use and what our role, what our community board and our committee's role in land use is. So when a developer is interested in taking a property or a group of properties and developing it for more than the way it was intended, for either more floor area or just a different use than the way it was intended through the zoning law. For instance, like, taking, if you live in a residential block, you can't really put a car wash on that block because it might not be zoned for that. So if somebody wants to do something outside of zoning, they have to apply for either a zoning change or a variance, and they go through a procedure. And that procedure includes the city council. It might include the Board of Standards and Appeal. It includes the borough president, and it includes input from us as well. And there are a number of findings, like O'Neill's Restaurant is a great example. They wanted to put a second floor to do catering. So they had to go through this process. It's called Universal Land Use Review Process. And they have to go through, developers have to go through these steps. And it takes 2 years to do, because it goes to recommendations. What they want to do goes to city planning, then it goes to us, then it goes to a couple of other steps. So what happens is it creates this process for us to take a look at the project. And our role really is to take a look at how it fits into the character of the community's need. The role of city planning or BSA, they look at other findings that have to be done. They have to do a financial, they have to go through financial reports and things like that. So our committee of 10 people gets the plan and goes over it. We talk to neighbors. We live in the neighborhood, so we kind of know what kind of neighbor that person's has been. And we go over it and we make a recommendation. Our committee makes a recommendation to the board, and our board either adopts or doesn't that recommendation. Should we allow O'Neill's to be able to expand, and what are the conditions to allow them to expand? Because we know best. We're there. We're in the neighborhood. We live in the neighborhood. We know what we need. We know if something's out of character. So we would typically recommend to the board. The board recommends to the borough president. There's another hearing. We have a hearing. The borough president has a hearing. Then they have a hearing either at city planning or at Board of Standards and Appeal. So there are many ways for neighbors to give their input, for us to give our input onto this thing. So, that's really what the committee does. And there's a local law I'm going to talk to you about tonight, is that the city council and the speaker in particular has introduced a law intended to amend the charter in relation to the methodology that I just talked about. They want to create a long-range planning for goals and citywide targets for housing, industrial space, open space, jobs, infrastructure, school seats, public transportation, and more. So they sent us this bill, and they would like us to adopt it. And basically, we gave the opportunity for someone named Annie Levers, who worked for the city council speaker, to represent the plan to us. What does it mean? And the city and they presented this plan to us in an hour-long land use committee meeting. And she presented the goals for the law that really matched what we saw as that we saw as a positive step, and that is that there needs to be more planning to be done. We need to think, do we need more schools here? Do we need fewer schools? Do we need better streets? If somebody's going to put up a homeless shelter in Glendale, do they have the infrastructure? Are we going to plan for an infrastructure? So they wanted to do plans around the city to the 59 community boards. They wanted us to come up with areas in our community boards where they could be bigger development, where we could put industrial space. And it seems to make sense. Each community had input on it, would have input on the implementation of programs, policies, and actions to meet sensible long-term community development, and that's a law we can get behind. However, when we looked at the law, when we looked at the actual, the intro 2186-20, as it was submitted on December 17, 2020, our committee's line-by-line examination determined that it really doesn't accomplish its intended goals. And we're not going to go totally into it. If community input really is a high priority, this intro does not accomplish that. Decades ago, the city successfully changed from a culture of operating under powers of a board of estimate. Back in the 80s and before that, there was a board of appointed people that had absolute ultimate influence over land use. And the city got away with that in its charter. But as it's written, this 2186 puts a deciding influence away from a shared input with city council approval, with fairly successful input and influence from us, the community boards and the borough presidents. This introduction clearly puts overwhelming decisive influence into the hands of one person, who is called the Director of Office of Long-Term Planning. So it's not really progress as we see it. It's putting this decision into the hands of one person. So it's not progress, and we recommend not adopting the law. And I know you might have a lot of questions to this because it's a little bit confusing. I try to make it as simple, self-explanatory as possible. But basically, the way our input, although it's a little bit clunky, if you're a developer, it's a little discouraging because you might not take over a property knowing that it's going to take 2.5 years to change zoning. And that was done intentionally because zoning is zoning, and you can't put a 14-story building, on Myrtle Avenue because it just doesn't fit. And we don't, so that's why zoning exists. And we are quite afraid that if the decisive, overwhelming influence is in the hands of one person who's appointed, it's really not good long-term planning. So we just recommend, we ask you to trust us and recommend not adopting this law.
Okay, but clarify it.
Go ahead.
The committee is recommending against the adoption of what?
Of this intro 2186.
2186, okay.
By the New York City Council. They're asking our input on this.
Okay. So that's the committee's report.
There are just so many things in this bill that don't do what they say it wants to.
Okay. All right. So we have any questions or comments on the committee's report? And I will get to other people and want to speak on other subjects later. All right. So, Mr. Giordano, I think we have to call a roll call So the
Yes.
committee's recommendation is against intro 21, what is it, Walter, again?
2186.
86.
And-
So if you're in favor of the committee's report, say aye or nay. And there's no abstentions because you're here to vote, not to hide behind something. Mr. Giordano, please.
A quick clarification, where yay is in favor of the committee report or in favor of the resolution?
Committee report.
So if we say yay, it means we're against 2186,
Correct. Correct. Yeah, thank you.
And to make you feel a little bit more comfortable, I don't think there's any community board that was in favor of it. And that's not why we're not in favor of it, but we really did our homework on this thing and it just doesn't.
Okay.
Against it, I see.
On the
Yes.
committee's report, Mr. G.
Yes. Okay. Mr. Adhikari,
Yes.
Vincent Arcuri,
4.
Tony Benanti,
4.
Toby Block,
Against.
Jessica Boyardi,
Can't hear you.
Jessica, okay.
Unmute.
Oh, she's muted?
Yeah, I asked her to unmute.
Jessica, we're trying to reach you.
Mr. Vinnie, why don't we go back to her?
Okay.
Alyssa Bonilla,
As I understand, I am saying I am for the committee report, which is to be against that law.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Eric Buckowitz,
4.
Rachel Karachi,
Time he allegedly did this online.
Or-
Somebody,
yeah, somebody has to mute their television or,
Barbara, you have to lower your ambient sound.
who's next?
Bob Chimelli,
Yes.
Walter Clayton,
4.
Pat Crowley,
4.
Maria Dela Cruz, Maria. Okay, Brian Dooley,
4.
Derek Evers,
4.
Dmytro Fitkowski,
4.
Stephen Fiedler,
4.
Suk Garang,
4.
Fred Haller,
4.
Fred Hofferly,
4.
Rich Huber. Rich Huber,
Rich, are you there? I think we're having communication problems here. Rich? Okay. Go to
Paul
next.
Kersner,
Okay, was that, you said, hold on. People. People. Rich Huber, what's your answer? Rich Huber.
Muted.
Rich unmute.
Rich, you're muted.
Everyone stop talking, please. Rich Huber, could you unmute and respond?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Have any new business?
Paul Kersner. Paul, Paul Kersner,
He's muted. There he goes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Kinga Kurzina,
Aye.
Marianne Latanzio,
For.
Diego Lecleary.
Against.
Against?
Against.
Ed Littau,
For.
John Meyer,
Against.
Patricia Maltesas,
For.
Edgar Mantell,
For.
Kathy Massey,
For.
Eileen Maloney. I don't think Eileen was with us. Marcin Nedgorski,
For.
April Nassasian,
For.
Peggy O'Kane,
For.
Michael O'Kane,
For.
no relation. Don Passantino,
For.
Michael Porcelli,
For.
Ken Rayberger,
For.
Ted Renz,
For.
Kelvin Rodriguez. He wasn't with us, I believe. Luis Rodriguez,
For.
Lee Rottenberg,
For.
Walter Sanchez,
For.
Dennis Steffen,
For.
Kathy Sumsky,
For.
Katarzyna Sita,
Repeat that, please.
For.
Thank you.
Guyanel Tapa,
For.
Barbara Toscano,
For.
Patrick Trinchesi, Patrick, is he muted? He's for? Michaeline Von Drathen,
Yay.
Mariana Zero.
For.
Okay. Now we'll go back. Jessica Boyardi.
He sent in yes.
Okay.
For.
And Maria Dela Cruz.
For.
Thank you. And I think that is everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for that. We appreciate it. The only other thing that we have for our committee, and especially for you, the people in Ridgewood, when there are people that have been sent to us by landmarks when they have redone their stoops kind of not in the way that they're supposed to be done. And just so you know, if you live in Ridgewood, if one of your neighbors says, you know, can we come to the community board to get an okay for this? If they don't follow what landmarks, says they're supposed to do, they're supposed to do their steps in the way the way they are in a landmark district, and that's it. We don't make the decision to say, that's okay, it's all right that you put metal railings or different kind of brick steps in. It's really not our role. And in order for landmarks to really kind of get rid of them, they'll come to us and they'll say, well, I didn't know when I bought the building, or the contractor didn't tell us. It's not our purview. We're not going to say, yes, it's okay. It just affects too many other things. So just that's all. If anybody has any questions about that, we're not making that decision to say it's okay, you can get away with that stoop done a certain way. Fair enough? Okay, thanks.
Any other committee reports that I failed to recognize? Okay, then we're a little behind here. Old business. Before we get to old business, Derek, I think you got your answer to your question that you wrote in.
Yeah, I was just, if we wanted to comment on any of today's business, should we do that now, or is that something we should just email about?
Well, when we're on that subject, you're supposed to and we ask if there's any questions or comments. But so now
That was
we're
good.
going to do old and new business. If you have something new, we'll go to that. First, let's do any old business. Okay. Then any new business. Derek, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to show my support for the community garden project idea that they're talking about in the Stop and Shop lot. They've reached out to myself and the county committee. They've asked me to reach out to Adabo's office and any of the other electeds in the area. We reached out to Raj Kumar's office as well. Because it is a private property, they don't really know which other avenues to go. And because it's been sitting vacant for 20 years and it's green space that, if it's a garden, they could technically still build on it, even if they did make a garden there. So I just wanted to give my support for that project. And then I did have one question for the land use / Walter, I guess would be the 1711 Hancock that's being raised right now. I saw that they're planning on doing a 7-story building. Is that correct? I'm just curious if that's been approved already, or is that something that they're going to will be discussed after it's demolished?
Vinny, can I say that? This is Ted.
Go ahead, Ted.
Yeah, so I'm Ted Renz with the Myrtle Avenue Business Improvement District, wearing my professional hat. Been on the board for a number of years. That is the backside of Hancock Street it's in C43A commercial district, and is an as of right project. And the demolition will commence very shortly. They're going to build, as you said, 6 to 7 stories, going to be 60 units. They are going to maintain retail frontage, retail portion on the Myrtle Avenue side, but he's not sure yet how much square feet there will be of retail. But it's pretty clear to me that nothing will happen retail-wise on Myrtle Avenue until that back-ended project is probably complete. But I have had conversations with the owner, Leo Kaufman and company, and they will be part of the bid district. They are in the bid district, but it is an as-of-right project, so we can't, even if we oppose it, it's as of right. It's just like the 17-story tower at Ridgewood Tower that's going up on St. Nicholas and Myrtle.
Yeah, that's totally fine. I was just curious because I did see that it stretched to the Myrtle side as well. So yeah, okay.
In fact, he's going to consolidate. There are 3 separate lots there, and he's going to consolidate everything into one lot, which will be a lot on Myrtle Avenue.
So,
okay.
Right.
Hello, Ted. Pardon me.
Hold on.
As of right,
We got the raised sand. Okay, but go ahead, Walter.
So, as of right, and that's going to happen. And Derek, you should bring those things up. If something doesn't look right to you, ask us, call Gary, call me. If it doesn't look right, that an as of right project means the way it's zoned, they could build that to that height, that's what Ted means by as of right, to that height, to that square feet, to that amount of commercial typically.
And the question is, when they combine the lots, does that give them more height?
Yeah.
That's another. So, Alyssa, you had something? Hello?
Yeah, it was just answered. I wanted to know what as of right meant. Thank you.
Oh, okay. So it's very simple. If it says this is an R5 zone, you could build housing up to 6 or 7 stories, whatever it is, residential. If you wanted to do something different, you'd have to go for a variance or a waiver. Peggy, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just wanted to know, is that the old manager property on Hancock Street?
No, it's not. It's it was a Happy Days store, and I forget the last name right now, but that was part of, if you remember years ago, Chronic's Furniture Store, which went way back in. That's where they had the delivery at the end. And 1711 Hancock always was a separate address.
Okay. Second question, does anybody know just what's going on at the old Oasis? What's going to be built there?
Yeah, that's going to be commercial.
Yeah,
I know, but what?
Excuse me?
We went through that, Peggy, last year or the year before. They were reducing the height down. They're building out to the property line. They have a delivery driveway on the side street. I forget what business it is, but we went through that whole thing about a year ago. Walter, you remember it at all?
Yes, I remember. I just don't recall I don't recall what it is, but not every project comes to us. If somebody's doing it as of right, it doesn't even come to the community board. However, it's appropriate to ask, and maybe we could find out what's going on. But it's not like when somebody does a project, they have to send it to the board or the borough president. If somebody does something that they want a little more than they're allowed to get, which is it's not as of right, then they have to go through the ULURP, which is what that intro 2186 was trying to get passed, like not do a ULURP, but the developer can kind of just do something and get an okay from this czar of land use, which is what we really don't think is appropriate. I mean, that's
they came to us because it was non-conforming. It was originally built above the height.
Right.
And then they also needed approval for the truck loading dock on the side street.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Any
John
other?
Meyer has his hand up.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, Vinny, I'm just about the Oasis site. I believe it was speculative. It doesn't have any set business that's going in there. It's a 2-story structure. But one of the interesting things is I have seen no height reduction activity at all. And at this point, I would have thought they would have been bringing the roof down, but it hasn't seemed to have happened yet. So it is curious what's going on there. And if anybody, I think Ted knows the developer, it'd be interesting, or the property owner, it'd be interesting to get some feedback on where their planning is and what they're doing right now. And when
I do know them, John. I mean, that they're affiliated with ABC Discount Store. They have their corporate headquarters on Myrtle.
So
And
Ted, maybe you could reach out to them and
just find
give
out
us
where
an
they are in their
update.
schedule, and if they're backed up because of the pandemic, and when they expect to see something happen with that reduction that they put in.
Okay, I'll follow up and give them a call.
Thanks. Any other questions or comments?
Ken?
Who's that?
Ken?
Ken.
Yeah, also, I just went past the Oasis site, and that roof they built up on the sides, and then the original roof is there, the curved roof from when it was a theater.
Right. Mhm.
They're not changing that.
They are.
Well, then that
It
means
exceeds the zoning. It exceeds the zoning height, unless they're applying for variance,
I bet
which
they
has
did.
not shown. Okay, that's why Ted is going to look into it for us.
I bet they went past us.
No, well, we'll find out. Lee Rottenberg, what's up?
Right, I don't know if we're up to like new business. I just had a question to see what people thought about something.
What do you have? Talk to us.
Okay, touching on both the homeless issue and the land use, several of the politicians running for different offices are talking about making basement apartments and attic apartments legal. So you have more places to live, but it'll really be obviously.
Well, as
bad for
Walter
overcrowding.
said, I think that was part of that objection we just filed. Plus, there's a few other ways that they were planning at the city council. And if you recall again, last year, a year before, when the mayor introduced the special zoning in and around public transit hubs, that was one way of trying to get around those things. So we just have to be vigilant and make sure we know what they're doing.
Well, the
All right?
gentleman running against Councilman Bob Holden is really pushing for that.
But no politics, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
There's a push, just if I could, for
Go ahead.
20 seconds. There is a push, and there are a number of legislators who are talking about a law to make basement apartments legal. That's-
Okay. It's interesting because as we're aging out in the city, they're talking about we need more housing. We're naturally losing population. Forget about the people that left the pandemic and whatever. We're just naturally losing people because we're aging out. So I don't know where any of these things are going to go. All right. Any other questions or comments or new business? If not, the next meeting will be May 12th. We don't know if the
Vinny, good and welfare?
that anything, good, whatever you want to call it. Go ahead.
Hi, it's Fred Haller. I want to just publicly thank and get in the record for Bob Holden. Sacred Heart Catholic Academy was going to lose its UPK, and he went to bat for us, and we did not lose it. So as chair of Sacred Heart, I just want to publicly thank him.
Thank you. I would have expected that to come from the Education Committee, but that's okay. Thank you. All right. So the next meeting is May 12th.
And Vinny, one more hand up. Elisa.
Alyssa?
Sorry, Vincent, I know you're close up here, but
No, I missed it. I'm sorry. I apologize. I missed your hand.
no problem. So I just want to know when we might be learning about our committee assignments, because I have already expressed interest via email. Do we get told that? Do we have to, if we didn't hear back, do we select something else? How does that work?
The executive committee will meet and review with recommendations from the current committee chairs.
Okay, and that'll happen before May 12 or?
I doubt it, because
Okay.
we usually meet, face to face. We have several meetings, and it's difficult doing it electronically and organizing everybody, but we'll try. We'll try and do it as quickly as possible. You may hear from us individually as we see a need to fill a position or have some help on the committee, but I don't think it's going to happen by May 12th.
Okay, no worries. Thanks so much.
You're quite welcome. Okay, so Transportation Committee is going to meet electronically, I assume, on the 27th of this month. We don't know whether the May 12th meeting will be electronic or live. If there's no further business, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I will
Motion
make a
to
motion
adjourn.
to adjourn.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, so it was John Meyer and Walter Clayton. All in favor?
Aye.
And I want to thank everyone, especially you, the new members, showing your energy and joining us. And whatever holidays, I know it's Ramadan, I know it's Orthodox Easter is coming up. We just passed through Christian Easter.
And today is Nepali New Year also.
Yes.
Nepali New Year, okay, thank you.
Yes.
So everyone enjoy, and thank
Thank
you
you.
very much. Take care.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good night.
Happy New Year.
Thanks, Mark,
Good
for
night.
doing a good job.
Yes, thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, guys.
And thank Laura and Gary for a fantastic job.
Thank you, Laura.
Everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Enjoy.
Good night.